So I'm one of those girls that even though I was pregnant, you could still see abs on top of the baby. I don't know.
Can I
I
just say,
think
everyone? I'll show some of her Instagram photos. She has, like, for a mom of five that she still has abs like that. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Like, looking at some of her posts, it just makes you want to go to the gym.
I'm like kind of really inspirational. No, I think, actually, if you want to get into the Alexia Clark thing, that's sort of where things really shifted for me because I found myself sort of like I thought I was starting to get like sandbags on the back of my legs, and I'm like, oh no, this is terrible, And I was approaching 40, and I was still doing the hit and Tabata. And one of your myths that you were talking about, how girls going into the gym, they don't want to put on 50 pounds of muscle. Well, that was me. I was afraid that if I lifted weights, I was going to get huge, and I would lift weights, but like we're not talking over 10-pound dumbbells, at the most. That's where I'm maxed out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to get huge. And then as I was approaching 40, I'm like, crap, everything's going to go down in the toilet from what I understand. And so I wanted to try to get ahead of that. And so when I started, I did one workout of Alexia Clark's, just one of her Instagram workouts, and holy crap, I had my butt handed to me. I'm like, this is the answer for me. And I signed up later that day. And I'm actually hitting my 2.5 years with her in 2 days. And in that entire time, her program is 5 days a week. And in 2.5 years, I've only missed two workouts that entire time. So I'm like consistent. You can't get more consistent than I am. My discipline is through the roof. But what I noticed when I started doing her program, the first two places that I felt an immediate change were my core and my legs. It was almost empty back there where my hamstrings are. Like, wow, it's like filling in. And I went through a period where um, I did put on like 7 or 8 pounds. I'm like, this sucks. I used to be crazy about weighing myself twice a day. And then after a while, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna stop doing these workouts because this is my answer. And so I just chucked the scale. I'm like, why am I gonna punish myself for exercising and working out? And so I did get a little thicker, not in the way I wanted to. But I trust the process. She's always like, trust the process. And then I don't know. I guess about a year in, I started slimming back down. And then and at that point, I hadn't been weighing myself, so I have no idea what I weighed. And then someone on Instagram made a comment maybe a month ago and was like, "Oh, you look like you're leaning out even more." And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know about that." And so I stepped on the scale. I'm like, "Okay, well, I lost all that weight that I had put on, so I don't know what's going on." But it's like the heavier I lift, the leaner I get. So I'm not complaining. I'm all about that because I don't want to look like a man. And I do lift as heavy as possible. Like I can do it. When I first started, I couldn't do a Bulgarian split squat body weight. It was awful. I mean, I maybe got like two or three in, and then my quads are like, what is this? This is terrible stuff. And now I can do 80 pounds on Bulgarian split squats. So, I mean, you look at my quad pictures, they're shredded, and I think it's 100% because of that godforsaken exercise. So,